I've been thinking a lot recently about that 2009 adaptation of The Picture of Dorian Gray. Nobody's calling it a good film, but the thing is, it's not a spectacular disaster either, like The Room.
I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
It's just mechanically wrong, in the same way many book-to-film adaptations are wrong. And July is the perfect month to talk about this because this story first hit print in the July 1890 edition of Lippincott's monthly magazine. It was then, expanded as a book the following year. Here's the problem. The film respects the skeleton, the bargain, the portrait, the moral drift, because, if you don't do that, you're not really adapting Dorian Gray anymore, right? But the film breaks the engine that is Wilde's wit and the philosophical seduction and the moral social corruption, and it just replaces all of that with this cringy late 2000s gothic horror aesthetic. And that's why, paradoxically, the film is actually quite watchable, but it's naff. So today we're going to talk about that failure mode and why the book still feels modern and why the film feels like it's constantly yelling at you. In Wilde's book, the language is a weapon. The seduction happens through charm, through epigrams, through implication, through a philosophy that sounds clever enough to be harmless until you realize that it's just giving you permission to be worse. The corruption isn't event. It is a slow shift. It's a moral drift caused by a psychological unfastening. Dorian isn't recruited into evil. He is slowly opened up by experience and he's left alone with what he wants, and then the consequences just start dissolving. This is actually one of the reasons why the book still feels so modern, because it's something we do all the time. It's moral outsourcing, it's compartmentalization, it's how we separate the self we show the world from the self that takes all the damage. And this is the first place the film shows its anxiety. It has explanation addiction. Basil exposition is everywhere. The film doesn't trust us, the audience, to be able to sit with the discomfort and the ambiguity. So instead of just letting Dorian rot before our eyes, the film just keeps explaining him tediously.
You're Kelso's grandson.
Yes. Did you know him?
Met him once. It was enough to give a cheer last month when he rasped his last sour breath. One assumes you inherited the withered old goat's estate. Being a little orphan isn't all bad.
Dorian becomes less uncanny, more ordinary, and frankly, boring. And this is the first tell the engine is broken. Tonal confusion. The film cannot decide what it is. Prestige period piece, gothic horror, lurid, hedonistic thriller. It's trying to make us feel with modern movie mechanics, light cues, music cues, camera language, basically feel this now cues. But Wilde's horror is internal. It's virulently and insidiously social. The portrait is a metaphor Dorian becomes in spirit. In the film, the portrait is a literal haunted object in a literal creepy attic. It's just so dumb. Everything is externalized. The conflict is dragged out of the mind, it's dragged out of the soul and into that stupid attic. So what we end up with is a kind of haunted house movie with lurid sex. That's not even that lurid. Look, if you're gonna do it, commit to it. And it's all in this weird period costume. It is dread by soundtrack, noise over nuance. To be fair, the skeleton is still there, which is why this film is still kinda watchable. The triangle of Basil, Dorian, and Lord Henry, it is inherently dramatic. And the premise itself, living without consequences, it's delicious enough to survive a lot of bad decisions. And so another problem is the cosmetics. The film tries to visualize corruption as some kind of gothic prop. The production design wants symbolism so badly that it forgets completely about plausibility. The film never stops screaming, "This is corruption," with the sound and the set design, instead of just letting the actors do the slow and poisonous work. And the cast is filthy stacked too. Colin Firth, Ben Barnes, Fiona Shaw, Ben Chaplin, Rebecca Ferguson. Man, just let these thespians do what the production design is failing to achieve. Because in the book, Lord Henry is an aesthete who plays with ideas like they're fashionable toys. He performs cynicism. He flirts with hedonism. He sounds like wisdom, but he's just charming and persuasive. He isn't a mustache-twirling corruptor. He isn't obviously evil.
Me.
Everything is possible for you because you have the only two things worth having: youth and beauty.
He isn't the villain, and when the film makes him that, Dorian loses agency. He isn't seduced by a philosophy anymore. He doesn't drift into recursive self-justifications. He just becomes a pathetic schmuck who gets tricked by a bad guy. This book was written in 1890 actually as a book in 1891, and it still feels more psychologically modern than this 2009 film, because in the film, moral transgression is reduced to a montage. Oh my God. And then we have the third act. 45 unnecessary minutes of a 1 hour and 54-minute film. This is modern adaptation anxiety in a nutshell. Escalation, showdown, and closure. Why do we always need closure? And tediously explained stakes. I mean, the thing is, Wilde's story doesn't resolve like a bland action thriller. The poison isn't meant to be defeated. The whole point is the quiet, hideous logic of what happens to a person when they keep choosing the easy version of their conscience. Seriously, this is a clear-cut case of read the book first. The book is so much better. And having read the book, the film becomes somewhat interesting only in comparison to it. I mean, have you seen the film? Like, I get that my opinions can be a bit idiosyncratic and strong. I want to know what you thought. Let me know down below.